Here we are. The refugee mothers from Ukraine, which are hosted here in Suceava, has a pleasure to make an introduction to you with a special song linked with their country, and they really miss the country. So I have here 6 wonderful mothers, Aliona, Irina, Violeta, Tatiana, Galina, and Anastasia. Welcome.
І ти тихий краю милий, моя Україно, за що тебе сплютровано, за що, мамо, гинеш, вже рано до схід сонця, Богу не молилась, чи ти діточок непевний, звичаю не вчила, чи ти діточок непевний, звичаю не вчила. Молилася, турбувалась, день і ніч не спала, малих діток доглядала, звичаю навчала. Виростали мої квіти, мої добрі діти, панувала я колись на широкім світі, панувала я колись на широкім світі. Панувала, ой, Богдане, нерозумний сину, подивись тепер на матір, на свою країну. Він співала про свою недолю, що співаючи ридала, виглядала волю, що співаючи ридала, виглядала волю.
Ой, Богдане, Богданочку, якби ж була знала, у колисці б задушила, серце б переспала.
Тебе мої запродані, жидові немоті, мої на чужині, на чужій роботі. А могили мої, москаль розриває, а могили мої, москаль розриває. Нехай віє розпорює, де своє шукає, а тим часом перед нехай підростають, та й поможуть господарювати, та й з матері полакати, сорочку мати, та й з матері полакати, мати.
А четверо розкопана, розрита могила. Вони там шукали, що там схоронили старі батьки.
Тебе там тесно. Зоры? Давайте зоры.
Зоре моя вечірняя, зійди над горою, Богу водою верба похилилась, аж по воді розіслала зелені віти, а на вітах ойдаються нехрещені діти. Добре знаю, зоре моя, мій друже єдиний, і хто знає, що діється в нас на Україні, а я знаю, розкажу тобі, навіть спати не ляжу. А ти завтра тихесенько Богові розкажеш.
Thank you very much for this wonderful group. Anastasia.
Thank you for all of us. Thank you for attention, and we all hope that you enjoyed.
Thank you, Anastasia. So again, thank you to Irina, Violeta, Tatiana, Galina, Naliona, and Anastasia, which are unfortunately mothers, refugees here in Suceava. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
You're muted, Beverly.
And my internet is not stable, I'm afraid. Sorry, Renee. But welcome, everybody, and thank you, refugee mothers, for your beautiful contribution. Great that you are all joining our EUCOMS webinar from the institution's community services as part of the Learning from Each Other series. My name is Beverly Rose, and I will chair this webinar today. And I will try to be the timekeeper as well. And I know I'm not very popular when I say so, but I'm very strict when I'm talking about the time. And yes, Luca, I'm Dutch. So I'm very strict. I'm already excited about this program of this webinar. In a way, it will be like a reunion, for me at least, as we will meet some highlights of the keynote speakers we met last March when we organized our EUCOMS seminar in Romania. Together with about 50 experts in the field of mental health from about 10 different countries, we experienced some of the history and witnessed several developments during the site visits. Today, we share a glimpse of it. For me, I know this webinar will be quite an emotional event as well. For that reason, I'm also honored to be supported by my colleagues, especially my next peer, Gabriela. Gabriela is an experienced ex-patient activist and representative, and she is a member of ENASP, the European Network of Users and Ex-Users and Survivors of Psychiatry. Gabriela, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Beverly. First of all, this evening I will say a few words about my colleague, and I think I can say my friend Jolijn Santegoods, who I'm very moved, who unfortunately passed away some days ago. So I will tell you a few words about Jolijn. And I don't understand. Where is my Okay.
But this silence is nice for this opportunity.
I do hope you can see this slide devoted to Yolaine Santigoods. And it is with deep regret that I have to speak about Yolaine at past tense. Yolaine was co-chair of the World Network of Users and Survivors of Psychiatry, board member of the European Network of Users and Survivors of Psychiatry, board member of European Disability Forum. In the Netherlands, she started the protest group called Raise the Isolation, which later became an NGO called Mind Rights. In the context of the Dutch law reform on forced psychiatric interventions, she developed an alternative model called the Eindhoven model, which is based on using family group conferencing for supported decision-making to avoid forced psychiatric interventions. Yolaine was a powerful leading voice advocating for the rights of persons with psychosocial disabilities against their torture in the psychiatric system, building confidence in others and inspiring people to create change in their lives and in their countries. Her credo, coercion is not care, is like a torch that leads our movement. She inspired many users in the world with her courage, passion, wisdom, and competence. Yolaine was a very special person, gentle and fierce at the same time, brave warrior, dedicated and passionate, mentor and friend. In her vulnerability and honesty in her own, seeking of justice and healing for psychiatric torture, she holds up a standard for the world, said Tina Minkowitz, human rights lawyer from the United States. We thank you, Yolaine, for all the work you did for others and especially for those in difficult life situations. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, Gabriela.
Oh,
Can you-
it was hard for me.
Can you show the picture of Yolaine?
You cannot see the picture?
Maybe Dan can share the slide then.
This now is the slide with Yolaine.
Can't see it yet.
Not visible, Gabi.
Hmm?
Nu se vede, nu este vizibil slide-ul. N-ai dat share the screen sau ceva.
Well, then we have to show it later on during the webinar. See, Dan, can you check? It's.
I don't know why, because I can see here.
This is your presentation.
You see the presentation now, so maybe you can select a slide with the picture of Yolaine.
I'm really sorry.
It's okay.
Everything is blocked on my laptop.
Oh. Well, then we should leave it for now, I think, and hope maybe because then you have the slides too, right?
I don't have a picture. I just have the presentation. I'm sorry.
Oh, but it wasn't the presentation. But then we will. Then I think we should leave it for now and see if we can do it later on. Beverly.
Yes, then we have our next peer expert, which is a colleague of me from the GMHPM Global Mental Health Peer Network Lookout. So the floor is yours.
Can you see the slideshow?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody and hello. I am Raluca Hagianu. I am from Romania, and I am a child and adolescent psychiatrist with lived experience and a carer for a relative with lived experience, my mom. And I am also a colleague for Europe in Global Mental Health Peer Network. I will be talking today about the importance and benefits of networking for people with lived experience, but also why and how I got into mental health advocacy and networking. I joined the Global Mental Health Peer Network in 2020 because my mom experienced in one psychiatric hospital, but also because my need for support during the COVID-19 pandemic. During one of the hospitalization of my mom in a psychiatric hospital in 2020, she lost her conscience for a short time, and she fell. She fell on a metallic heater, and she hurt her back and her head. Head and back trauma are medical surgical emergency according to the law in Romania. An ambulance should have been called, as I know from my experience of being a psychiatrist on call during my residency in child and adolescent psychiatrist. But it took 5 days to my mom to be seen by any doctor. And even after 12 days, a complex medical evaluation had not been done. I think it's important to see my mom ecchymosis while still in hospital. And what you can see, it's a quite big head bump that she had. Unfortunately, Global Mental Health Peer Network was the only entity at that moment that gave me a voice, and they let me include my mom's story in an article that was published in Lancet Psychiatry in 2021. I think it's very obvious that for people with lived experience that are involved in advocacy, networking is a must. Networking should be done with other people with lived experience, with mental health professionals, with policymakers, with mental health NGOs, with human rights NGOs, with other people without lived experience to eradicate stigma, and with media. From my experience, the best way to build a network is direct social network. In being in Global Mental Health Peer Network had a positive effect on my mental health because of CHIME. You probably know the acronym is connectedness, hope, identity, meaning, and empowerment, which are very important in recovery. Also, connecting and networking with other people with lived experience in Global Mental Health Peer Network was building strength, because strength is in number, and you might not be heard as a single voice, but for sure you are heard when you are part of a big group. And strength is needed. Strength is needed to change the status quo of mental health services, especially in Romania, but in other countries as well. We need a strength-based, community-led approach from the people with lived experience perspective, which is a little bit different from mental health professional perspective. And we need that done not only through NGOs, as it is currently done, but also at the mental health, at the level of public mental health services. Being part of global mental health peer network gave me the opportunity to help other people with lived experience and be helped. It also was a great chance to educate and be educated, and it was very important to be educated about a different approach to treatment and recovery from people with lived experience perspective, about stigma, about alternatives to coercion, about legislation and mental health advocacy. And I think this education could be extremely useful for every mental health professional, not only for people with lived experience. It also, being in global mental health peer network, also provided me with quite a number of opportunities to advocate for mental health related issues. And many thanks to Global Mental Health Peer Network and EUCOMS for giving me today another opportunity to do so. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raluca. Well, we need to say that the Global Mental Health Peer Network is a partner. We have a memorandum of understanding with EUCOMS, or EUCOMS has a memorandum of understanding for GMHPN. So thank you, Raluca, and we keep on going.
Thank you very much.
Then we move to Romania, to the northeast of Romania. Tibi, you would like to introduce yourself? You can do a better job with that than I can, I think.
Hello everybody. Before introducing myself and start my presentation, I'll ask Dan. I think he now have the slides, the slide that Gabriela wanted to show. So please, if you can share it with us. And maybe Gabi wants to say some words about the slide again. Just 1 second. I know I'm going to be punished by Beverly because of that.
Now you can see your line. I spoke about a few minutes ago. She was very inspiring, very supportive to us. She was a great advocate. Raluca just talked about advocacy and the involvement of as many people as possible in advocacy. Yolaine was one of our leaders in advocating, especially for human rights, for a person with psychosocial disabilities. So she's a model for the world, I can say that, because she's now all over the world, known not only in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you. Yolaine is still a leader in spirit, still around here. Then Tibi, please, your presentation.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm trying my best to be as quick as possible, so to escape the punishment from Beverly, though I think it's quite impossible for me. So I'm starting to tell you a story about the institutionalization in Siret, a story that I hope it is a success story. So now I'm in my office in the hospital of psychiatric hospital for chronic patients in Siret, Suceava. You can see the map there. We are at the very border with Ukraine, but actually this is quite an old hospital. It's the largest psychiatric hospital in Suceava district. It has 210 beds, and the majority of patients have intellectual and cognitive disabilities. A lot of these patients were inherited from the former orphanage that you can see here in the pictures. Actually, the orphanage was in a former Austrian military barracks, and it started at the let's say, the beginning of 70s. It was the orphanage for children with psychiatrical problems. It was actually the perfect model for asylum, the model that you all know from the specialized literature all over the world. So Siret is the perfect place because it is in the middle of nowhere. It is at the very border of Romania. And in the same time, the orphanage was kind of secluded from the rest of the town within very high big walls. So this is how the orphanage looks. You can see the picture there where before the orphanage was destroyed, was smacked down. It was during one of the interviews I gave for BBC regarding the story of the orphanage and at the same time how it developed. It is, as I told you, it is a very long story, but I hope it is a success story. So of course we couldn't continue the story of the orphanage as it was. So we needed a shift, we needed a change, we needed a reform, and the reform of course started with buildings. You can always change the institution starting with buildings, but then it means that you only change from one institution to another institution. Coming back to the orphanage, I think a lot of you, especially people that are as young as I am, may remember that from people from the Western Europe, especially may remember that from the TV shows that were broadcasted all around Europe, and not only all around Europe, it was in the USA, in Australia, everywhere. It was about the horror orphanage in Siret. So the first thing we did, it was to change, as I told you, the old buildings into new buildings, the old conditions into new conditions. So now we can say that for at least 7 years, let's say for 7 years, we have a new place, but it is again a new institution. So when we moved the patients, we still called them patients. When we moved them into the new building, they were very happy. And they said, okay, this is a wonderful life. This is a great place to stay, a great place to be. But in the same time, as I told you, this is only changing from one institution to another, from one ugly old institution to another new institution, beautiful institution with good, beautiful conditions, but still it's one institution for one institution to another. So we thought this is not enough. What more we had to do, it is to break down even the new beautiful walls of the institution and to open the institution to the community. And that was really the biggest change we have to do, because we always were, we have to admit, we were afraid how the community will react, what people will say when we open the doors of the institution, of the hospital, and let our beneficiaries to stay out into the town and to be part of the community as they deserve it. And to our surprise, because the hospital already existed in Siret for more than almost 40 years, let's say, we had the wonderful surprise that the community was really ready to welcome the beneficiaries from the institution, and not only to welcome, but to do works with them. So what we continue to change, it's not only to change opening the institution and to change the beneficiaries from the institution, but to empower both community and staff in order to have an open institution. So it was not enough to open the doors and to let beneficiaries out into community. It was more necessary to do two sideways work. One of them was with the workers, with the staff, because the staff was kind of scared what will happen with the beneficiary, and we'll have to answer back for them what will happen to them. And in the same time, we have to open the community for the beneficiaries, because we realized that you will never have to expect that somebody from the community, one institution, one person will come to you and say, okay, I want to do this kind of activity. We have to invent our own activities. We have to invent our own programs. So we used the UN reform. We used the logo, nothing about us without us. We asked the beneficiaries what they would like to happen to them. We still are talking about the hospital, because the hospitals are the most important, are the prevalent services that we are offering within the mental health care in Romania. But we are very proud that we are the first institution that has a curricula for training the peer supporters. And I will show you very soon why we thought this is very helpful. And of course, we want to do that First of all, because we asked the beneficiaries and said, what is important for you? And then we want to do that because we think it's very important to change the pyramid of services from the services based on hospital and closed institution in services based in community services and social services. This is not very easy. How we did that, we evaluated the needs. I think that might be a little bit interesting for our colleagues in Ukraine. So we used ILSS, Independent Living Skills Survey. We use that with all our beneficiaries. We have 7, I think, different chapters from hygiene, personal care, grooming, personal property, food preparation, healthcare, managing own money, using public transport, leisure, search for a job and keeping the job. And I have here in Romania, unfortunately, some of the results we got from this scale, from using this instrument. And what is very interesting is that you will have almost equal number of beneficiaries that are very well adjusted, they are very high skilled in using independent living skills, and at the same time you have almost the same number of beneficiaries that cannot use this independent living skills almost at all. So we realized that it is a lot easier for our beneficiaries to learn one from another and not to learn from the staff, from the pay staff. So this is how our peer working was starting. Here are some of the examples of the results that will be available to you. Of course, this presentation will be available to you too. In the same time, what we realized is that for the beneficiaries, it's very important not to have all the events, all the activities within the walls of the hospital. It was very important to have them open. So we try to open day centers where beneficiaries can meet volunteers from the town and they can do activities together. What we also did, it is kind of unique to do that in hospitals. We did different researches on depression prevalence, on independent living skills, as I just showed you. The comparative profile of chronic patients in Southeastern Europe, that happened with a European project. We implemented a mobile team, a FACT team here in Spread. And we also did a research on burnout for mental health workers, because as I told you, it's very important for the empowerment to work both ways. It's not only for the beneficiaries of the mental health system, but it's also for the workers within the mental health system. Why did we start with depression? Because as you can see, in 2009, the official statistics in Europe said that Romania is the less depressed nation, which we thought it's totally wrong. It's only lack of data. It's not the reality. So we try to see how depression really looks, especially for the patients within our hospital. I know we are in a shortage of time. So we developed several services that you can see here, from individual and group psychotherapy, ergotherapy, occupational therapy, light therapy, community activities, psychological education, community activities, and mobile team. There are a lot of services, and what we realized, it is impossible only for one institution, one service to provide them all. So what we did next, and with that I will almost end, it's developing networks. It is about local networks from town hall to social assistance services, general hospital, all the other psychiatrical hospitals. We are part of the network of psychiatrical hospitals in Romania, all the important institutions and stakeholders. We did policy dialogue events, which were very well, let's say, welcomed by all the people here. And in the same time, we developed a continuous program with different institutions like high schools and universities. So we have on a constant time volunteers from all this kind of institution, and that's not enough. And that's my last one. We try to develop networks outside Romania within Romania, our local NGOs. And you can see here the greenhouse. You can see here 2 of the family type units that we are using, and those were developed with local NGOs. With a German NGO, Kaiser Initiative, we develop at least twice a year programs of integration for our beneficiaries. With Romania League of Mental Health. And then to end with, I will end this with EUCOMS and with Dreamworks Holland, where we did our training for our staff and for our mobile team and for our peer workers. And with Bezirk Schwaben, that's a German organization where we do our early training for our staff in Germany. And of course, I'll give the floor for my next colleague, Vasi Gafik from Bukovina Institute. You can see that on top. And that's one of our most important, and I will say, even we look very young, one of our oldest partners in the hospital, with whom we develop lots of services, from training staff, developing services with our beneficiaries, and develop a lot of exchanges and shadow visits. I hope you could get some of my saying, because I know I speak very fast, but I try to keep on time. Thank you so much.
Vasi, up to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Phoebe, for introduction. It was really fast, but I used to hear you on the last 3 months a lot on this fastest way, and also to welcome the EUCOMS family here in Bukovina. So we can declare, TB, that Bukovina was EUCOMS capital 2023 this year. So let's move on. Okay. My name is Vasi Gafik. I'm from Bukovina Institute, and I will share my screen. I hope I will be the same fast as TB. I still have to learn from him this part, but I will do my best. So I try to explain as my first meeting with René here in my office and with the big group after the Gura Humorului very successful conference, where we could bring the bridge or build the bridge between Europe and Ukraine in special on these very difficult days. And I'm so happy that I can see here on the list Angela, Vitali from Chernivtsi, Nadia and the group from Popasna, and a lot of Ukrainian friends that join EUCOMS action. So I will try to present a little bit, but not very much about Bukovina Institute. As Tibi says, we are based on sustainable development of community in Romania, Republic of Moldova and Ukraine by establishing partnership for learning. We are a vet provider. We are WISE licensed social services. We've been founded in 2005. But maybe the most important, we are one of the promoter of social enterprises on the area. Of course, we are part of several networks. As you can see, we are active member of CEFEC, FEON-SSE, and RENASIS, fighting against poverty. But also we are acting in the Republic of Moldova, and of course, if we take in consideration this year of competencies, we are a member of the Pact of Skills. Bukovina Institute, we learn a lot from one of the very close network that we work, and I'm so happy Lorenzo Torresini is here because I learn a lot from him, and I see also Atina Franguli from Greece is here. We try to be a network for people, environment, and for community. Lesson learned. We learned that inclusion is not sustainable without occupation, work, or job. Of course, after Tibi explained that the psychiatric hospitals here in the north part of Romania, northeast part of Romania, offer this emergency treatment for those affected by mental illness, we have to find solution on the community to bring these people back. And I'm so happy that I work with Gabi from the same time and with TB from 2005, when we really start Roamente project without knowing that in more than, almost 20 years, the war is coming and we will be very close with our friends from Ukraine. So I learned from Lorenzo a lot, and especially the work bring dignity. Even he organized a conference in Merano with this title. Social enterprise are creating jobs for people with special needs, and I think is the best model to take people over from the psychiatric institution to the community and put them on the job. The work should be paid. This is one mission that CEFEC really fight for it. All of us should be aware about resources, and our children should have access to them too. I think this is one of the cross global objectives of all of us. and no one should suffer from hunger and poverty. Because if you look on the reality, a disability is coming together with poverty mostly of the time. We started in 2005 here in Suceava. Very happy to work with Doina, which is part of this webinar as well, from the psychiatric hospital in Burdujeni in 2005. And we tried to play a significant role for community development by trying the institutionalization process. In 2007, we became a member of this fantastic network, Social Firms Europe CEFEC, based on Franco Basaglia model. I think I will not tell you about this because you already know. And I'm so happy that Felipe, it was one of the Professor Felipe, Dr. Felipe, he was one of the founder of CEFEC, and he's here with us today. And in 2007, also, we have the chance to learn from practice by participating on ROA mentored projects together with Tibi, with Gabriela, with Doina, on this, putting together all the mental health services, let's say, coming from the psychiatric hospital at the time. In 2012, we've been very happy to put Romania on the map of social enterprise because we've been honored to organize the first CEFEC conference in Romania. And based on Lin's appeal that started in 2007, we are collecting the best practices inside of this magazine. In 2015, we have the chance to be the grant administrator for startup and social enterprise. So we could really direct some funds for these great initiatives, grassroots initiatives. And of course, in 2021, we'll be blessed to have the action plan for social economy. Let's see how today my countries and your country are putting in practice this action plan, a fantastic tool that really push the inclusion of disabled people into the society. We granted a lot of social enterprises on the area. Not all of these, what you see, are hiring people with disability, but mostly of them, yes, especially on greenkeeping, on cleaning, on cardboard, and of course on how to score on asta, on bookkeeping. Now it's time for action, and we need all of you. Sorry, I put so much information in one slide, but I really want for you to think about and reflect. Of course, I understood from René and from the EUCOMS Secretariat that all the presentation will be sent to you via email. So don't worry, don't take photo right now. We are here to present. And on 9 December 2021, the European Commission adopted the new action plan on the social economy. This is a really great tool if our countries try to put in practice. I'm afraid that it's a long work with Raluca on lobby and advocacy, with Gabriela, with Tibi, with Boina, with all the Romanian team, especially in Romania, because we really have an autistic dialogue, we can say, without authority. We say, they say yes, yes, but they are doing what they really want to do, or they have their own agenda. On 18th of April, 2023, very fresh, after the EUCOMS conference in Gura Humorului, in New York, the United Nations has adopted the first resolution on promoting the social and solidarity economy for sustainable development. So it is another tool that we really can use it for lobby. We have to create the right condition for the social economy related with taxation, public procurement, state aid. It's about resources. These people, those people, and especially those the very much stigmatized in Romania, people with mental health issues, I don't want to say disability, they really are discriminated. In Romania, we have to work a lot to change this mentality. Opening opportunity for social economy organizations to start up and scale up social enterprises, and making sure the social economy and its potential are recognized. We have to work a lot for this. Now I'm going to show you some photos. So this is the way we started in 2005, and I'm so happy that I can see this photo, and some of you that have been in Suceava and visited our office has the chance to visit this place. Since 2005, each of us is part of the community. That was our motto. We produce impact on the environment. Don't think about, or I'm really focused to demonstrate one day in a very simple scheme how a person with mental ill, even it's not put in the community, what is the impact on the environment if we take about in consideration medication, pension, and other services that don't help for long term. Its impact on economy and on the future for sure. We are happy that since 2005 we are running Together Club, which is a clubhouse model based on Promente model that came in 2005 to Romania, to Suceava in special. And of course, I had the pleasure with the group of EUCOMS to open the first open doors gallery in Burdujeni together with Doina and with Tibi. And of course, as you see on the beginning, we are also support services for refugees. Here you can see a few pictures for the nice ladies that visited us and have a speech for opening this great gallery that is running very well so far. And on the end, I would like to make the last invitation to the 37th CEFEC conference. This network was established in 1987, and 6-8 September 2023, we are inviting Unitea Fochida, and I want to tell you that it's exactly in Delphi, in Greece. This was my pleasure, and here you have my contact. Thank you very much.
Thank you first, Tibi, and later Fazi. We met your clients, your patients, and your team members, and were very impressed by them. Now we go to across the border to Ukraine. I would like to give you the floor, talking about your situation over there and your empowering stories.
Great. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Everything okay?
Yes, Maria and Alina.
Yes, my name is Maria Bachmaha. I am here representing Mental Health for Ukraine. It's a Swiss-Ukrainian project, and I want to briefly tell you about our project's route to supporting services of supported living for people with mental health disorders and other disabilities. So, excuse me. Our project started as a result of Ukraine taking action to reform its mental health system. As many of the post-Soviet bloc countries, we inherited a system of psychiatric services that were often punitive instead of curative. But in 2017, the government of Ukraine passed a concept note on developing more affordable, accessible, and evidence-based services that would be available at the community level. And the Swiss government pledged support to help the Ukrainian government to start this important reform. And thus, in 2019, a consortium of organizations led by a GFA consulting group from Germany started the project operations in Ukraine. As part of the project team, we work on the national level on policies and legal framework, etc. In pilot regions on developing services on the community level. And our pilot regions were in the west of Ukraine and also in the east, in Donetsk and Luhansk Oblast. And our third component was informational and awareness raising campaigns, which we all started in 2019. Around our developing supported living services was not our mandate from the beginning, but with every community that we worked with every hospital, with every institution, we always ran into the question of what alternatives are there for people with, long-term or short-term mental health disabilities. And in the beginning of 2022, a UN report on human rights came out, which plainly stated that, unfortunately, for people that have daily medical or social needs, the only place where they can receive services is either a psychiatric hospital, where they are forced to live long-term past any clinical need, or psychoneurological internats, something like TB showed in his presentation, very much alike. And then, 24th of February happened, and we all woke up to a new reality. And all of MH4U staff was mobilized wherever they could find, opportunity to help those in the biggest danger in the east and south of our country. And one of my jobs was actually translating and helping a colleague who was working at the president's office in humanitarian headquarters, and she was tasked with evacuating people with disabilities, including residents of internats. And during those countless meetings and emergency discussions and organizational setup, it became very evident that it's a heartbreakingly impossible task to evacuate, sometimes 100, sometimes more people that all live in the same facility, which is far from any infrastructure. And most importantly, people lack legal capacity to act. So any documents signed, they often don't have their own possessions to pack the necessary things to last them a day or two. So this, this unfortunate experience has plainly showed to the government of Ukraine, to every person who maybe only theoretically understood why, large institutions and institutionalized services are not good for people, how harmful they really are. We made through the worst 6 months of everything, and it became clear that we need to invest our resources and our expertise into developing new services. So once we are victorious and this war ends, we don't start rebuilding old institutions, but instead start to invest in people and opportunities for them to live in communities, to work, as Vasi said. And because of our previous engagements with various NGOs, we found people who were equally passionate about developing services for people with mental health disabilities. And since 2023, thanks to SDC, our sponsors, we have been working on developing supported living services in 2 regions in Ukraine, and we hope to house in supported living facilities 40 people in those 2 regions. But we are also working with national authorities on changing the policies and on the advocacy. So with that, I would like to focus on the light, on the good future ahead for all of us, and pass the word to my colleague, Halina Stohrin, who's actually the one doing the daily job to support people and open more supported living facilities for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. It was very nice to meet you in Romania last March. It was overwhelming contact. Yeah, keep in touch. So if there are any questions, please put it in the chat. We have an intermezzo now, and later on we have the Q&A, and we'll answer those questions.
We're first.
Yeah.
Halina.
I know. So please put your questions for Maria, but also for TV, Vasi, and the peer experts as well. So, floor is yours, Halina.
Hello, everybody, and thank you, Maria, for general background. And I will focus in my presentation on some particular aspects, practical aspects of opening, launching the supported living service in Ukraine in the time of war. I work at the Dream Workshop NGO as a strategic development manager, and also I am a coordinator at the MH4U project, where I work for creating more places for supported living in Ukraine. Here is the photo of our first house, which we already launched, and there now are 3 residents. General capacity of the house is 7 or 8 people, and in few months we are opening another one. So in general, in our projects, there will be 15 people in organization like Dream Workshop. Plus, additionally, MH4U is opening another structures in the region, so there will be 40 more people moved from the institution to normal community life, being engaged in average processes as any other citizen of the country. On the photo, you can see Mykola and Mikhailo, who is sitting near the fireplace. And it was their first evening when they have left internat and came, and they are sitting with our communication manager and having some just introduction talk. And it was very good and very warm moment, and I really like this photo. Here is a bit of the context, but Maria have explained that system was bad already, and the war made it even worse. So there is no chance to restore it. We have to change it, and it is the way. The supported living is the way to change the system. How we started our cooperation with MH4U? It was a few years ago with a small a project for family support who have adult sons and daughters with mental disabilities. And the next time when we were cooperating with MH4U, it was a big fight with local authorities when in Lviv region, they wanted to open a new internat in Zhuravno village, and we were literally having a huge discussions. Hey guys, don't do it. It's awful. You are wasting 20 million hryvnias. Don't do that. And we had a pretty big and pretty strong coalition, but anyway, it didn't work because at that point, seems like it was not a good time. And now, in the middle of the big war, seems like it is a good time, because I think many people have realized that there is no chance to go back, and we have to do this change now. So this is some screenshot of the show where I am sitting in a green shirt and explaining why we should develop new social services. Unsuccessful at that time, unfortunately. And who is the Dream Workshop and why we are implementing this project of the supported living? We have a few daycare centers. Now there are 2 daycare centers, but the organization started its work from 1 center because there is also no system for people with mental disabilities, where they should go and what they should do, what activities have after graduating from the school. So it's another problem. And we created the center, and now we have another one. We work with families. We inform the society to decrease the stigma. In 2022, when the full-scale Russia attack started, we had some doubts if we should keep working. We just paused for a few weeks. We were keeping contact with families of our daycare center. But then we understood that it was very important for them to have this place and to be able to keep coming and have normal routine, normal life. And that's why in June, we decided that we will restore work of our daycare center. Nevertheless, in 400 meters, the missile hit has happened and killed civilians. So to restore our work, we had to rethink some processes. This is a picture how I was developing the proposal for the project in my basement. And this is what we done in the organization to adapt to the situation in which we all appeared. On the right side, you see our guys and girls playing Uno in a time of a air raid in a shelter. And on the left side, there are a team having a tactical medicine training. Also for our supported living facility, we have sought out evacuation plan, like Plan B. And we have created much rules and internal procedures for the safety, but it's necessary to do, so we done it. And in autumn 2022, we started discussion with MH4U about launching the service. And this year we started it, and we started it from hiring good people to be assistants and to strengthen our organization in general, because we believe that people are the core, and we cannot retrain existing staff from the internet. We need new people for this pilot project to build it good due to the values. And we created like a month-long course for the assistant to help them go deeper into the context. And when I was preparing this presentation, as it is connected with war, how it is feel to do this work in a time of war, I understood that 4 of 5 assistants in the house are internal displaced people. It was not selection criteria, but it just happened. And the 5th, this girl Orisa, she is volunteer paramedic, and 50% of her time she's doing like paramedical work at war, and 50% she is assistant in the house. So it's also one of the aspects of the situation we live in. But also there are some non-war challenges. For example, that there are troubles with financing from the state to create this service to make it more sustainable. And Maria is doing a great and very huge job to create this financial mechanism in the legislation, so more organization can start this. Also, state standards are not very clear, and the worst for me is the quality of incoming information about our beneficiaries, because no one have never done the assessment of their health and their social environment and previous experience. So we are doing it literally from the scratch. And there are some nuances in the communication with authorities. We are working on it. But anyway, we are really happy because we have this many firsts at our residence, even sometimes to ride a bus, to take a public transport, to have a picnic. Everything is new because all their lives from the childhood they have spent in the institution, internat for children and internat for adults. And it's first time when they live like normal people, regular people. You see, they are having their junk food in McDonald's. But sometimes, very rare, but sometimes you also have to give people this chance because it's part of normal routine of anyone. And they were so happy to get this hamburger. We plan to scale our experience and to share it. And also MH4U has a separate component in its activity focused on the supported living, and there will be created 40 more places, like for place for 40 more people from the institutions. So we hope that it will develop further. And even the First Lady, Olena Zelenska, have done some post in her Facebook about us. It's not like a real policy change, but at least we see that it's a marker that general vector have changed, and the new approach is being discussed now, and it's very important, especially comparing to what we had even just 1.5 years ago. So thank you for your attention, and here's my contacts. We'll be happy to hear from you.
Thank you, Alina. Thank you from your news from Ukraine, and thank you for your message of determination and hope, and good luck to you all over there. Then we have, well, first of all, your quick Q&A, your questions in the chat. Please do so. We will try to answer them today or otherwise by social media and our website. Now, Fuzzy, you would like to introduce the next guest, right?
Yes, I have a very good friend, Christy. Cristian Râmbu is from Botoșani. Somehow he disappeared from the picture. Okay, Cristi. Hello, bună seara. I really have a deep respect for this wonderful man who is a truck driver and he's driving across Europe. But he has a passion. He really liked the tradition and to put together apprenticeship model for community. So even he's very isolated in one rural village, he really tried to bring up some good initiative, social initiative. So we called Cristi our social innovator. Cristi has a pan flute, which he built this pan flute without very special school, but he has a very good how to say, very good trainer who really support him. So Cristi, you have the floor now. I think you will do a very nice music, instrumental music, based on his instrument, his own instrument, built by him. Cristi, ai deja scena e a ta. Suntem aici 50 de persoane din mai multe țări din Europa. Te rugăm.
Vă mulțumesc.
Mulțumim, Cristi, mulțumim foarte mult.
Vă mulțumesc și eu de suflet. Vă mulțumesc.
I just want to mention that Christy, he's trying a big effort to do it on Zoom. He never did before. And this is the first time that he sing in front of so many foreign audience, even his locally. He's really appreciated. Moreover, Christy is doing apprenticeship for youngsters. So right now he's exactly on his workshop. So he's not trying to use Photoshop to put something like the digital era is doing. He's really fantastic. Cristi, mulțumim tare mult și te apreciem și urmează colaborarea cu tine. Mulțumim frumos!
Vă mulțumesc din suflet. O seară bună.
Mulțumim!
Thank you, thank you. So now time for the Q&A session. Renee, I'm looking at you.
Yes.
Can you help
Yes.
me out?
Yes, I can.
I selected some nice questions.
Thank you. We had lots of feedback on the chat, many compliments to the Ukrainian singers and now also to the pan flute player. So many compliments for this music. Really wonderful, and many thanks to Gabriela. We really moved. You were moved. We all moved by the way that you commemorate the great fighter for human rights, Jolijn Santegoed. So really thank you for that. And then we had 7 questions, and I'll select some of them. And as Beverly already mentioned, we may not have the time to answer all the questions, but then those questions that are now not answered, we will then answer them on LinkedIn, and also put the answers in our on our EUCOMS website. But first of all, there was a question from Vlatka Rocic Petak from Croatia, and the question was to Raluca. The question was, you told your story about your mother in hospital, and your question is, has this story been told in the local community, and if so, what was the reaction? Raluca.
Yes, it was told in almost every channels possible. It was told with Romanian and international NGOs, about mental health NGOs, human rights NGOs, television. I sent my story to 2 televisions. I sent my story to NGOs, to mental health NGOs and human rights NGOs in Romania and at international level without any response. And I tried to file a complaint to the Ministry of Health, but they deny. Although it is not legal to deny filing a complaint.
Okay. So you did many efforts, but very little response, I understand. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it is sad that I have to join an organization from South Africa to make myself heard in Romania.
Okay, yeah. And you told it now for this international group in this webinar. So thank you for that. And then we had a question from the Netherlands. Jules Reinking was a question, I think, to Vazi. Are you familiar with the IPS, individual placement support method? That might be interesting. Vazi.
Yes, we are familiar, and we even are using right now on a project financed by EU grants from Brussels. It is about CEPAL project, and 5 of our CEFEC members are part of this. So yes, we are familiar. Thank you.
Okay, that's very good there, and I'd like to connect you also then to the person who asked this question. That could be an interesting contact for you. Then we have a question from Orest Suvalo, also to Vazi. The question is, what is the role and support from politics? Do you have support from the budget, state and local? Vazi.
Very good question. At this moment, even we have a good law in Romania on social enterprises, we have almost zero support from the politics. What we try to do it with our national umbrella organization RISE to do lobby on reserve contracts at least, because we, through the European funds, SF funds, we develop several social enterprises very good for adaptive work for people with disability, but unfortunately, we don't have any benefits from the states. It's based just on the direct cooperation with local authority and to make lobby and advocacy. Even 2 weeks ago, Commissioner Schmidt was here, and he was really impressed about the work what some of social enterprises are doing, and no facilities, even not facilities for taxation. We are not asking for donation. We really ask for fair support from the local authorities.
Okay, okay. Well, I'm really happy that they support you, because we were quite impressed by the work that you do. I think you're
And we
very
support you mentally.
exactly.
We have
More-
to, yeah, I have to mention that CEFEC really support a lot, and not only CEFEC, also ENSI and other EUCOMS now. I think they will support as well, because in our area, the support services on mental health and community can be done just through social enterprises if we take in consideration our actual political situation and legislation. So if we don't develop private support services in community, which should be considered social enterprises, it will be very difficult to sustain them.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Then we go to a maybe more even philosophical question from Daniel, and I would like to raise this question to TB. The question is, please explain more about work as a source of dignity, acceptance, and income.
Oh, thank you so much for this question. I can say from my own experience working for almost 20 years with this kind of beneficiaries that first of all, they were, it sounds very strange, but for people with a long term, with a life-term period of institutionalization, they were deprived of work. They were not allowed, they had not the right to work. So they lose the sense of their own dignity, of their own value as human beings. So when you open the work experiences for them, and I'm talking at the beginning about ergotherapy and occupational therapy, but more than that, then you work on the secondary work market for them, then there is actually a new world for them opening up. So it's more than a chance for them. It's first of all respecting their rights, and then finding their own sense of value, self-value, and being valuable and valued into society. So I think work it's really very important to be offered to our partners in therapy.
Thank you so much, TB, and so true and important. Then we have go to 2 questions about the situation in Ukraine. First, Katerina Ostrovska to Halina. Do you consider a large-scale deinstitutionalization possible in Ukraine, or rather should we wait on the aftermath period when it may be more feasible? Halina, what's your comment to that? Should we wait or should we go on?
I think the general DI reform will happen sooner or later, because this is a vector which is already like officially declared. It will take time, of course, and it will take sources, and it will take much of advocacy work. As I said, for example, Maria is working on creating this possibility to finance the service at Hromada, at local community, because as there is no financial mechanism, there is not really much Hromadas willing to create the service without sustainable funding. But switching this money from one stream to another, this is possible to encourage Hromadas communities to open that facilities. Yeah, it will take time, but I think that there is no option to go back and lose 30 more years. We cannot afford it. It's like too luxury.
No. Oh, we're really impressed by this, to be honest, that in the war you go on with this very important project. And maybe for now, the final question would like to ask to Maria from Pavel Richan. It's amazing what you're doing. I wonder what kind of help you might need from mental health professionals, peers, managers from Europe. What kind of help? How can we help you, Maria, is the question.
Thank you very much for the excellent question. First of all, I wanted to say that to thank sincerely to all of you who are helping us since last February. We feel the support, and even if it's just checking in on us or sending medical supplies like you and I are doing, I know it really means a lot of you to know that you are thinking about us and you are willing to help. And as to more specific maybe support, I was thinking about this since our meeting in Romania. And I think it's very important to have these dialogues and have these discussions. So if you, from your side, have some connections to Ukraine with your own peer networks of the same professionals, for example, psychiatrists to psychiatrists, social workers to social workers, ambassadors, so people with lived experience, maybe we can connect you to people with lived experience from Ukraine who, with the network we are also trying to develop and manage. And these kind of, peer-to-peer discussions and sometimes fights, sometimes, just sharing the experience and the history of how it happened in your countries, that would really, I think, mean a lot to us. So thank you. And I know EUCOMS can make it happen.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll keep going. Beverly, I give it back to you.
I'll give it back to you, Gabriela. Gabriela, you started this webinar talking about Judith Santegoed. And now you can do the closing as well as my colleague. Please, floor is yours.
Thank you, Beverly. I would say that during this webinar, some key words made a kind of chain through the presentations and discussions. And these words are advocacy, networking, empowerment, deinstitutionalization, services in the community, and social inclusion by social, as an example, social enterprises. Raluca started by her personal experience, and she mentioned advocacy, which is very necessary when you want not only personally, but as a community to achieve a goal, and the importance of the networking. Continuing with the TB, who showed us and the stages of deinstitutionalization from the orphanage to the community, which also it's a huge work. You also need to do advocacy, to advocate for this, change mentalities and so on. I don't want to go into details. And so that at the end, the community to accept these people and they to be part of the community. This is a real inclusion. And about services, it is very interesting that peer support as a service in the community was somehow started in Siret. It's really amazing this, because of the situation there over this 50 years or maybe more than that. We continued with the Vasi presentation, saying that the most important is, once people being in the community, they need to have a job, and a job for all should be possible, regardless of the status. I mean, if you have a disability or not. And it's time for action. And very, very interesting project in Ukraine, where also, despite this hard period of the war, people try to develop services in the community, supported living services. I don't want to take your time with a short presentation of mine, but I hope this time you, let's see, you can see my screen
Yes.
now?
Yes,
Yes.
we do.
Okay. Thank you, in the end. I can show you your line once again. Together with the Stuar Foundation, which is a service provider in Bucharest and other 3 cities in Romania, we in the project called Mental Health Service, Mental Health Needs Empowerment, we carried research trying to analyze the access of people to services, and within a national advocacy campaign. So we go again to the advocacy, collecting information from people who are in the community and have support, counseling support in the community, and also people in the psychiatric hospital.
Just to
The
say,
result
Gabi,
of this
Gabi,
information.
your screen, it's not moving. If you can, I know you want to show a presentation. Yeah.
Now you see something with green on this. No.
That was still yes.
Now it's Jolie. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now it's perfect. Yeah. Great.
This one. It's okay.
This one. Yes.
Yep.
Great.
Okay. Thank you. Oh.
We like your line as well.
Okay. Okay. And we collected this information mainly to establish what kind of services need. I don't know why I go here. In red are all services we need in Romania, and among there you can see on green again peer support, and that's why we consider peer support very important, and it was mentioned in the presentation this evening. A very important service in the community, because it's much easier to learn. As Tibi said, and I noted somewhere exactly how he said, is they noticed in their research that it's much easier to learn from one to another than from the professionals. And but for the Eastern Europe, peer support is a new concept, is a new service, and that's why we need to know what is peer support. We need training for people with lived
Excuse me,
experience.
please. Just a second. The slide is on my laptop. Please tell me where to move it. When to move it. I share the screen on my laptop and.
Okay, go further, please. I don't understand what happens. Go next.
Next.
Here, okay. And to look if peer support is a job or is volunteering. Definitely for us, for example, in Romania, would be volunteering. We have to promote this service and to find a solution to implement it. I take this opportunity to announce you the next slide, please. The topic of our next webinar, peer expertise, learning from each other webinar series, online Zoom webinar, 28 June from 7 to 8:30 Central European Time.